Charles Almighty Wraith,
Wraith 58.
and this is Wraith Reviews. So today, just in case you can't notice by the apparel that we're wearing, we are going to be reviewing one of our favorite franchises and their newest installment, and that is,
Mortal Kombat 11.
yeah, we're kind of covering up most of the backdrop, but you know,
You can see Scorpion behind me.
and just in case you didn't realize, it is rated M for mature because it's Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat, as we spoke in one of our previous videos, is one of the main reasons why we have an ESRB rating.
Actually, I thought it was the reason.
It's right up there.
Wasn't it Mortal Kombat 2 the first game to have
something like that, yeah. And if you've watched any of the Almighty Wraith versus series, this is the Mortal Kombat franchise is up there quite a bit because we love this franchise.
And also, there's a lot of replayability in the fights.
So as always, we got some gameplay footage as we talk about it. So let's head right over there. All right, so this gameplay footage is actual us playing. So, you know, we're going to start out, you know, just some different things. You know, so it's Mortal Kombat. It's brutal fighting. All the special moves that you've come to know and expect and love are here. They did change up the combat system a little bit, but you know, NetherRealm has pretty much a good.
They got a good setup for it.
They got a good setup between this and Injustice. They've got plenty of practice. So the one thing that we did notice going from 10 to 11 was the removal of the
X-rays and
X-rays.
Also,
but we'll talk about it.
Character customization.
So you can see the roster here. It's got
quite a bit bigger than the Mortal Kombat X one was, including XL.
So I mean, it's got
a bunch of returning characters and even some new ones.
So the Joker is a good guest character. You know, they got Spawn,
RoboCop, and Terminator.
And Terminator. Those are the guest ones from this one. Now the DLC characters with Aftermath, you know,
RoboCop, Shiva, and Fujin.
Yeah. So
Fujin hasn't been playable since what? Armageddon, you said?
I think Armageddon was the last one. So it's been a few games since he was.
It's been a long time.
So
he was the NPC in Mortal Kombat X, but now he's back as a playable character.
Yeah. So you've got what we're seeing here is your setup on most of these, and Baraka just went off, and you can see the Batman cowl sitting behind him.
That's from one of the DLCs.
You know, and I think after you go through each one of these...
After I go through these, I show off some of the other setups I have.
Yeah. So, the customization, you've done a lot more than I have. They've got a lot of stuff, and it doesn't just stop with
just
cosmetics.
Stuff. Yeah, you can change you can make your own variation entirely. It's not just like Injustice where it's little bits and pieces. You can change the play style of the character as well.
Yeah. So when you go in and you customize it, you obviously, like you've done here, you're customizing the looks, but you can customize their gear as well and customize, like you said, their play style. So it gives a lot of different variations. So if someone goes against my Scorpion,
it'll be a bit
different than your Scorpion. So I thought that was a really cool concept, and I think they did a lot better in this than they did in Injustice. Don't get me wrong, Injustice customization was cool.
Yeah, it did have a bit, but it was individual armor pieces, but you couldn't really change much of the moves.
Yeah, so
you could change a few, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, so they did a real good job on that. The Aftermath DLC, to me, for the price that we paid for it versus what we got, Uh, eh,
Because the new maps and stage fatalities and friendships, they just came
yeah,
base as an update. All you get for the Aftermath DLC is
new, new,
those
new
three
story.
characters and a new story, but the new story does unlock a whole bunch of
Yeah,
unlockables for the rest of the characters.
and the new story was good.
It was.
I think the price point was a little steep for what we got. So
But but like not long after it came out, it was put on sale.
yeah. So I'm hoping that
And now we're going to the other variations. Here we have Shang Tsung from the first Mortal Kombat movie. Nice little nod.
and we got
Classic Frost.
yeah. So overall, I mean, Aftermath was a great addition. Like I said, I think the price point was a little steep, but playing through the campaign was great, and that was this is the first time that Mortal Kombat has had a DLC for the story. So I thought it was cool. Like I said, a little price for what we got.
Well, also it comes with the Combat Pass as well.
Okay.
That's probably why it was so
Yeah.
priced up.
Um, so again with the DLCs, and I'm not the only one. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the time it takes for them to release the new characters in between. I mean,
Well, it's a whole bunch of coding.
We waited a whole long time for Spawn. That was the main one, and that was the
Well,
last
it's
one.
because they were working on the other characters before him.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I get that. It's just, it's like, oh,
Common deception.
yeah. Now with the DLC characters, there was a lot of people that were data mining and finding different things. One thing that disappointed me is that it was rumored that Ash Williams from the Evil Dead uh, was going to find his way into Mortal Kombat 11. Uh,
Oh, I forgot to cut this out apparently.
so,
There.
but they did a real good job on the characters. But I thought that I would have liked to seen Ash Williams in there. And it's not to say
It's
that
not that. I mean, there is a possibility that they're
still
going to come
happen.
because they're still coming out with new DLCs for like these Mortal Kombat 3 skins for Katana, Jade, and Scarlet.
Or fairly new.
They came out like not a day before we recorded this footage.
All right, so now we're back in here. We're seeing. All right, so we talked about how the X-rays were gone. So
they were replaced by crushing blows, which are basically just fluid X-rays. They're not moves. It's just like a modification of a combo or a special move.
Yeah, but here's the other part that replaced the X-rays, and that's the fatal blows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I did like about the fatal blows versus the X-rays,
they do a lot more damage.
They do a lot more damage, and
also
you can only do them
once per match, and it's when your health is really low.
So
when your health goes below 30%, that's when it activates.
And it can be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
So
using the first round, it's not really a good idea.
No, generally not.
And and people have developed fatal blow combos that allow you to do like tons of damage. Like there's one for Scorpion that can do 400 damage.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So, and they're brutal and they're awesome. And everything. So, and every character's got one. We're looking at spawns. So, the way they work together, work in there are great. I think.
I think as opposed to the MK9 one where it's just a short little thing, like 3 or 4 hits.
Now this is one where we talked about it being a game changer because right beforehand, when you did that, I had a lot more health than you, and then.
And then you had less health than me afterwards.
And unfortunately, I had unfortunately for you, I had
Fatal blow still.
I still had my fatal blow.
Now for the fatalities, the most famous part of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean, can't have a Mortal Kombat game without fatalities. It's just
That's just wrong.
that would just be pointless and horrendous.
Hmm.
Um, Now we were talking about, you got your standard fatalities, which we're seeing right here. Um, but they brought back the stage fatalities. Um,
Which were, I mean, they weren't in the game initially, as we
yeah,
said earlier.
they just come back with a
And,
about
but the shame is there's only 3 maps. This being
yeah.
one of them.
So and some of the stage fatalities in the past have been mediocre. Some of them have been awesome. This one to me has always been a cool one, especially the way they did it in 11. Uh, and then I think the next one I think is another stage
Hmm.
fatality, um, which is one
The
of
tournament.
the tournament one. Uh, so that was great. I was glad to hear them bringing these back. But they
A little creative there with the placement of that.
yeah. So they brought back. That's not the only thing they brought back. They brought back the brutalities, which
Well,
have
they
been
were.
there. They've been there, but uh,
Brutalities are still
yeah.
a thing.
But the other thing that they brought back that they haven't had in a while,
They haven't had since MK2.
and which
Is
I was skeptical.
friendships.
This and I have to admit I was skeptical at first, but the way they did it was pretty good.
Majority, quite a few. There are a few bad ones to be expected, Frost, but like Jax's,
It's
Jax's is amazing.
so I think
This is just like raw footage.
yeah. So this is some of the footage of us actually playing and everything else. So this will be a good time.
Oh yeah, also new intros. You can choose what intro your character plays whenever he enters.
So the storyline I think is what 18 chapters,
Including Aftermath?
including aftermath.
I think so.
Um, in which they all had sub chapters in them and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So um, the
And
story picked up real well after the events of 10. Um, and with like we said, with it being their first attempt at a story DLC, uh,
my only problem with it was that it kind of retcon. There's an ending in the base story where it's called the good ending, where if you don't lose a single round in the final match, you get that. So that kind of gets retcon and goes to the bad, quote unquote, ending
yeah.
to continue the story.
Well, overall they did a real good job on it. I was skeptical because, like I said, it's their first attempt and everything. Um, and uh, so I was a little, like I said, skeptical of it, but they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, the team at NetherRealm, they you can tell that they have a passion
Mm-hmm.
for Mortal Kombat and the fans and everything. Um, like I said, the only really complaint that I had was, like I said, the price point for Aftermath, which I was expecting. I was just expecting a little bit more with that price point. I'm not disappointed in the actual
And
content.
if we could have waited and gotten the cheaper, like waited for it to go on sale, but we wanted those pre-order skins.
That, and we're Mortal Kombat people, and we're not going to wait if we don't have to. So, um, but yeah, I mean,
And here's 2 DLC characters. No,
but honestly, when we
my
got
2 favorites of the DLC characters.
when we got the DLC for it, it was right when it launched or right before it launched, and ready for day one. Um, and you played the mess out of it.
Oh, I played through the entire base story before it came out,
And then
like the night before.
And then
so I did get a refresher on it and how certain characters control.
And then you played, I don't know how much, and then I finally got to play around with it during the house tournament and some Almighty Wraith versus, but I didn't actually get to do the campaign until here recently. Um, but like I said, you got to where you were doing really well with them. You spent a lot of time in the towers and online.
I placed in the top like 5% whenever like in that week.
In that week,
with basically just Fujin and no other characters.
Yeah, you did. You learned Fujin really well. I still don't like playing against you when you're playing with Fujin.
Well, I unlocked all of his intros, outros, majority of his skins and gear as well.
Yeah. So
the only thing that stopped me was they weren't giving them for all the stuff. I had to wait for certain events.
So I believe that's the end of our clips and everything else. So anyway, like I said, that was some of the footage of us playing and everything. We had a blast doing it. We always love Mortal Kombat. Ed Boon and the team at NetherRealm, great job, guys. Like I said, my only complaint, because I don't like doing reviews without finding something negative. Um, and my only one is the price point, and it's just because I wanted a little bit more, and I think that's mainly what it was. I wanted more. I just
that's just with
my fandom. That's just my fandom. So I mean, but overall, if you like fighting games, this is definitely a good one. They did a really great job on it. So I'm gonna have to give my rating of 5 again. I mean,
yeah, same here.
So,
very few complaints about just.
Like I said,
there are some characters that do need to be buffed again, such as Scarlet. She's sore needed that. So, and then there's a few things here and there but these are just like personal things, such as adding more stage fatalities. I feel like is something that needs to be done. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past weren't there more than just 2 fatalities per character?
I think there was some of them where they had more. Because there's so many games in the Mortal Kombat franchise that I can't remember. Now I've played.
It would be fun if it brought back the.
I think I've played all of them as far as
mainstream.
I think I played them all except for maybe the variants that came out on handhelds. And I even actually played a few of those. I think. But I'm not huge on handheld games. But as far as the mainstream games and the console games and stuff like that,
it'd be fun if they brought back the Harakiris from Deception. If done well.
I mean, I even liked the Sub-Zero Mythologies game. It was a little different. Now, not so much the Special Forces one that had Jax and Sonya. I didn't really care for that one too much. But I think out of all the Mortal Kombat, that's probably got to be my least favorite. But by far, like I said, outside of that price point for the Aftermath DLC, I really don't have any complaints.
It's just personal stuff.
Yeah, I still want to see Ash Williams in there. I think
just in the future if they add more characters.
Yeah. So, guys, if tell us what you think. Leave a comment below and everything. So. Until next time, this is Charles Almighty Wraith and
Wraith 58
saying stay awesome. Hey guys, this is Charles Almighty Wraith and
Wraith 58.
We hope y'all enjoyed our video and everything. Be sure to Check us out on all of our other social media networks, such as YouTube,
Facebook,
Twitch,
Twitter,
Instagram,
and Patreon.
and also be sure to like and share the videos. And all right, until next time, this is Almighty Wraith and
Race Life 58.
saying stay awesome.